episode of My Two Cent. My name is Paul Emerson, and as always, I'll be giving you my 2 cents. I've been super busy, so I've started streaming after listening to the Army. Um, I started running every 2 miles based on a Army standard, and recently that I'm no longer in the Army, and this is a long story behind that. I went back into that same standard because of the health benefits, the capacity to control one's motivation and achieve one's goals and objectives. It's a really good way to regulate your life. And right now, I'm super overwhelmed with everything that I have to do day by day. So the science and the philosophy for my 2 cents is coming. There's just not enough time in the day to live my life, come home, sit down at a table, think critically, to put together some content for YouTube that'll be worth anything. I'm not very visually creative, which is one of the necessary things to be a YouTube content creator. And financially, I can't afford to outsource the creativity. What I say is what's important for my channel, but what I say is not important for YouTube. Most of the people that watch my content to hear what I have to say, but they want it put together in a YouTube format. And as YouTube format has evolved to be designed to cater to people that are just looking for quick entertainment, mindless, brain-numbing content, the more that YouTube, it's ironic because the more YouTube pushes for non-intellectual, inappropriate, immature content, the greater the niche that my 2 cents will fill expands. But the problem is that I can't keep up with that. It's hard to actually sit down and say something intelligent to millions of people. That's the reason why people don't say anything intelligent to millions of people. It's easy to sit down with a small group of people and communicate an intellectual idea. It's very easy. It's easy to get 5 or 6 people to understand where you're coming from and what you're saying and communicate what your meaning is. It's difficult to do that on a large scale because people are stupid. And I say that at the age of 42 because unfortunately I've spent my life trying to not say that. I literally started my 2 cents because I honestly believed that the world was not full of stupid people. I honestly believed that we were all pretty even in intellect and capability and capacity. And going into the military, spending all my life working and having to deal with the world around me as an African American, the sad reality is that the truth of all of it is that people are stupid. People are stupid. Stupidity is the inability to reconcile knowledge with experience. So if you have experience and you have knowledge, the reconciliation of those two is stupidity. And I'll give you a perfect example for this. Substance abuse, right? People have the knowledge that drugs are bad, you shouldn't do drugs, they're going to destroy your body, you're going to be in illness, you're going to have sickness. People have the evidence of this with all of the testimonies of people that have done drugs and all of the information that you can see around you associated with drugs. People know instinctively and inherently that there are things that are good for you and there are things that are bad for you. There are things that we can define as nutrition and there are things that we can define as poisons, right? Some poisons are fast acting and will instantly destroy you and kill you. So no one ingests that. No one's trying to go drink snake venom to kill you. But too many people have allowed themselves to believe that it is perfectly okay to consume certain toxins because it gives you euphoria so that they can feel good despite it destroying their body. That is the definition of stupidity. That is the definition of stupidity. Too many people are in a hurry to get absolutely nowhere. Like, why are you speeding down the street to get into an accident? Why can't you drive at the speed limit to get into an accident? That is stupidity. Too many people believe that things that has happened statistically to the average person can't happen to them because somehow they're not average. We're all average. We are all average statistics to the world. Sometimes you get to not be an average statistic and transcend. But even in your state of transcendence, you're still an average statistic. You're still Elon Musk walk out in the middle of the street and get hit by a car, and the billions of dollars is not going to stop him from dying. So it's like we're always in that spectrum, and the conflict is just a stupidity. I started my 2 cents for 2 basic reasons. The most important reason was I couldn't understand why it was so difficult for me to be an honest, decent human being of average intelligence and be able to function in society. That was the single most important reason why I started my 2 cents. I thought that there was some disconnect in society because remember I started my YouTube channel before the internet was big. My channel was started during the infancy of the internet. Not even the infancy of YouTube, but the infancy of the internet. So I used to run Facebook on a generation that predates the smartphone. Like my phone was barely a touchscreen. So that's how long I've been living in society and functioning in society and trying to function in society. And that's what this is coming to. The second thing about my channel specifically was it was supposed to have been built on the foundation of exploring truth. And my original goal was to start a discussion about racism and how it affects African Americans. And this is why I came to the conclusion and this is why almost 10, 12 years later, the answer to my question is people are stupid. Because at the very beginning of the internet and the very beginning of social media and the very beginning of social connectivity, I discovered that everybody knew that racism existed. We want to argue the point about it, but everybody knows what it is. Everybody understands what the definition of racism is. And I'll give you a better description for my context of my 2 cents. Racism is institutional racism. It's discrimination based on your complexion, which is defined by your ethnicity, right? So, do people get discriminated against? Yes. Is there such thing as racism? Yes. You can't say that it doesn't exist because sometimes white people get discriminated against. Institutional racism is the fact that Caucasians run this country, and from their position of authority, they are able to create laws, ordinances, and policies that inherently discriminate against non-whites. When you can build you know what? Let me simplify for you. In 2023, marijuana is illegal, right? It's legal in marijuana in 2023. I live in Detroit, Michigan, right? I live in Detroit, Michigan. In the 80s and in the 90s, everybody had marijuana on them. And at any point in time, the police, no matter what ethnicity they were, could pull up on you and put you in handcuffs for possession of marijuana. Less than an ounce. Less than an ounce. If you had less than an ounce, you were in possession of a Class A, I believe it is, narcotic, and you could go to jail. I could be wrong about that because I don't do drugs. But I know for a fact that if you had any amount of marijuana on you in the 80s and the 90s, you could be thrown in jail, right? Okay. How many African Americans statistically went to jail for possession of marijuana and did not prosper in the city that I live in for possession of marijuana in the 80s and the 90s? A lot. I don't have a number, but you can Google it. Now, let's fast forward to 2024. Right now, it's legal to possess marijuana. All of the African Americans that are in jail, remember, more than 25% of the prison population is African Americans because they did something that they weren't supposed to do. What percentage of that 25% are incarcerated right now to this day because of possession of marijuana? Now, remember, the system was designed, institutional racism is what I said. It's discrimination based on ethnicity by Europeans, specifically Europeans because they're in power. All of the children of these Europeans that grew up are now in control of the marijuana industry. All of them. They made sure that through their laws and policies that they made sure they crippled all non-minorities to have any type of monopoly share in the distribution and of class A narcotics, right? So everybody that has suffered in this world from substance abuse has done so directly under the governance of white people, the governance of Europeans, the governance of Caucasians, all of them. Because who controls everything in the world when it comes to border patrol? Texas right now, the United States government is in war. The Texan government and the federal government are in odds against each other because there's too many people coming through the Mexican border into America. And Texas, like, you got to stop this. And America's like, we have policies that we put in place, but the policies that are being put in place by the liberals that don't believe in racism and discrimination and institutional racism don't understand that the reason why white ancestors put these policies into position was to maintain their control over a country that they do not inherently deserve to have. And because the younger generation has bought into the propaganda of being woke and don't want to believe that this stuff actually exists, it's falling apart. And when it falls apart because the rest of us non-minorities don't believe in institutional racism, when it actually falls apart, it will directly affect us. Because of the power, control, and influence that the United States government has over this country did not come from a God. It did not come from the belief that this generation of people are inherently right to govern this country. The people that should be governing this country are the indigenous Americans. But the indigenous Americans have never governed this country after it fell during the Colonial Union War. When the Europeans went to war with each other, all 13 of them went to war with each other and united under the ideology of white people to turn this country into the United States, into North America, and then later the Revolutionary War was fought, the Union versus the Federation, the Confederate, so that they could turn this country into the United States. That's the energy that the United States was built upon. No one that is here running anything in this world, in this part of the world, has a right to this place, because all governments have been defined under the principle of this is where I was born, this is where I live, and God has ordained me to govern you. And what I mean by that is that in Africa, Africans said, I'm in charge because God said that I'm in charge. Fight me, right? And then the biggest, baddest African governed the rest of the Africans. And the same thing happened in China, right? The Asians all went to war with each other because God said they were all in charge. And they all found the biggest, baddest Asian, and then that person became the emperor or the ruler or that's how it worked, government-wise. Same thing happened in Europe. In America, that probably still happened. We don't know because their history was erased and destroyed. But what we do know, what was given to us for everyone that speaks English and understands the way American society works is, what we do know is Europeans came here and defined themselves as the rightful colonizers of this land and erected industries and infrastructure and culture and laws and ordinance and rules and regulations in the land that wasn't theirs, and has continued to perpetuate that for over 500 years under the governance that, well, because Europe sent me here, I have the right to be here. And that's what we're living in. And everyone in the present is forgetting that in the past because we have these smartphones and all this internet and all this connectivity, and we're forgetting the basic principles of life, which is the foundation of my 2 cents. My 2 cents foundation is empirical evidence. Like, I spent my whole life, the adversity that I have dealt with in my life is based on the idea that I replaced belief with empirical evidence. And empirical evidence is just simply observing what's going on in the world, recognizing it, and understanding that that is absolute. Cars drive down the street when you put gas in them. If you don't put gas in your car, it's not going to go anywhere. That's empirical evidence. Believing that you can get to your destination if your car is on E is faith. And you might get there if you don't run out of gas. Like, it's just that simple. Life is just that simple. So I'm rambling, and I got to do this 4-mile run. My goal is to get into a position to where I can have the energy and the consistency to do this regularly, so I can rebuild my channel. but it's a lot. I work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. I have to manage. I have to manage my life. So, and I don't have the time. I don't have the time to escape from the job that I'm trying to escape from without sacrificing the income. And I'm not in a position in life to be able to just stop working and just chill like some people. I don't know how they did it, but I would love to know how you cannot work and still survive for 6 months. I can't do that. As soon as I start working, my life starts to fall apart. So that's what the foundation of my 2 cents is all about. We should be able to do the things that we want to do. We should, all of us that are honest people, should be able to do the things that we want to do with our lives without having to have unnecessary, excessive adversity. So that's pretty much it. As always, my name is Paul Emerson, and I've given you my 2 cents. Excuse me. my goals. Morning.
Good morning.
Write it all down. We write it all right, alright. We write it all right, alright. We write it all down. Alone. Into my get home alone, it's like these animals alone until I get home. It's me into the woods, takes me home. It follows me into the woods, takes me home. Coming back, coming back, coming takes me home. Coming back, takes me home. Takes me home. I need to recover. These promises broken. like a leaf, and they call me under, and under honey, and the storm. Call me under, and I'm shaking like a leaf, and they call me under, and I'm with the underneath, and the storm where they call me under, and I'm shaking like a leaf, and they call me under, and the storm. And the mirror in my eye, you are there. Where do I go? finding a way to hold on, to hold on, let go, to who we are. 3, 2, 1, 0. There is no way back in time. What is real and what is not. Will hurt. Lose myself and lose my mind every time I close my eyes. Oh, the survival hurt, but I keep breathing and I'm alive. I'm not fine. I don't know if I will be alright, and I have to try. I know you're with me. What if you just fall apart? Give into all that we are. Let all the broken pieces shine. Got them inside us in time. Everything's turned upside down. I'm not the first. How can we ever be so under and who we can trust? Oh, the survival hurt, but I'm not giving. Man, I'm alive. I'm not fine. I don't know if I will be alright, but I have to try. I know you hate me. What if we do fall apart? Give in to all that we are and let all the broken